Hello and welcome to another Lunch and Learn with the Core Collaborative. I'm Isaac Wells and this is a moment of mindfulness. These teachings that I'm sharing come from Thich Nhat Hanh and in particular from this book, Touching Peace, which I highly recommend. In the first segment, we talked about awareness of our breath and then worked on a way to remind ourselves to feel fresh and new when we think of ourselves as a flower and then in breathing out, feel fresh. Today, I want to pivot a bit to a different mindfulness practice that's helped me. In all of these, we're aware of our breathing, but in this one, we're going to be a bit more aware of our bodies. So one thing that's powerful about any mindfulness practice is it prepares us for the storm. Now, whether you're starting this practice in the midst of your own personal storm or you're doing it in preparation, doesn't really matter. You have the same impact. But for this, let's visualize ourselves observing a raging storm, and you see the trees bending and breaking, the floodwaters pouring down, all these things happening. But then if you think of the mountain in that storm, the mountain is unfazed. And so after a storm, the mountain looks largely the same it did before. Maybe it has more or less snow, maybe the trees have been knocked down, things like that. But this is a powerful visualization because it reminds us that no matter how powerful our feelings are and our emotions may be, they are temporary, they're transient. They come and they go. Now, in the moment, they don't feel that way. They can be all-consuming. So this is a mindfulness practice to build up that feeling of strength and the ability to not really overcome even, but to outlast. Now, before we start it, I just want to be very clear that this is not to ignore our emotions. It's not to try to suppress them or control them. We need to be fully aware of those emotions, especially at times when things are changing rapidly and we feel ourselves on that roller coaster of great excitement, even sometimes falling into despair. But the purpose is to be aware of those, but to be aware that they are emotions, they are feelings. They're real, but they're not permanent and they're not who we are. So the same breathing exercises as before, but for this one, because we're trying to imagine ourselves as a mountain, we need to feel very solid. Feet flat on the floor, rather. For me, bottom in the chair, back against the chair, and arms on the table. For those who are more flexible, you may use a full lotus position, possibly propped on a pillow. Some people like to sit back against the wall. I recommend apps like Calm, 10% Happier. There's many out there like that for more expert advice on those bits. But I think you'll find this really powerful. And it's so simple. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. And as silly as it can sound, with the last one, with the flower fresh, I found myself always smiling as I would release that and could feel my body shift. With this one, I do become a bit more aware of my weight in the chair, and I feel more solid, and I feel that I'm like something sitting in this world as my mind works and as sometimes these emotions come over me. Now, just as in the last example, after using this phrase for a while, it just becomes this simple piece of mountain, solid. And again, when you say these words or these phrases in your head, we're not shouting them. We're just trying to give ourselves a sense of something, an intention, so that in my sitting here for maybe a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and reflecting like this, I leave feeling now calm from my breathing, fresh from that idea of the flower. And now with this mountain meditation, I feel solid and I feel that I am here as things change and that and I'm consistent. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Remember, any of these offerings we have at www.thecorecontributes.com. can be used as ways to document this time in your life, to reflect on your learning, and to actually get credit for the learning you're doing. We hope that you'll stay connected with us, share the great things you're doing, and see what those on our team and our partners are doing. And until next time, have a wonderful day.